So Lia Thomas is now the NCAA champion for women. Is this fair? My name is Nathan Laurie. If you are new here, we talk about the law and the facts. If you're about that life, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. All right, welcome to the show. All right, so the New York Post did this write-up about the NCAA swimmer Lia Thomas, who is the first openly trans athlete to win a championship, an NCAA championship. Now, just for a little background, Lia Thomas was on the men's team, wasn't really, successful. Just being on the men's team is a success, but not really dominating the men's league. Switched, turned and said, hey, I want to live my best life. I'm a woman and now compete on the women's side. So people are saying, well, this is just not fair. Lia Thomas, one side is saying she is really a man and she shouldn't be able to compete with women. The argument is simple, right? Why do we have women's sports and men's sports? Well, we have women's sports because we know women are at a physical disadvantage in competitive sports like running, jumping, those type of things, because men's bodies are built differently. And the reason why men's bodies are built differently is the most important thing. See, when you're growing up and puberty kicks in, for men, we're talking about high amounts of testosterone. That gives you things like broader shoulders, wider hips, science, right? There's a marked difference between how a male's body develops and a female's body develops. Men have higher bone density. Muscle density is extremely, is higher. You can even increase that by taking more testosterone, right? That's why now they check for testosterone. If you take more testosterone as a man, you even get more of those benefits. Women don't have those same luxuries, right? So when they're growing through puberty, they don't get that higher bone density. They don't get those broader shoulders, thinner hips, things of that nature that make them less athletic than men. So we've understood that for generations. And we said, okay, so women should compete with women. It's not about identity. It's about reality, right? So women compete with women because of the reality of the situation. It's a biological shit. Because of your biological piece, you can compete with other women, and men compete with men, right? Biologically. So that is essentially where we're at, right? But now that question about what is a woman has changed. So it's not about biology, but about identity. Biden administration has come out and said, we're not going to do it based on sex, but identity. What do you feel you are? And that now has become a problem because the reasons why we have the separate leagues for women and the separate leagues for men are now tossed to the side, right? Because it's not about the reality of biology, the science about biology. It's about the emotional impact. How do you feel about it? What do you feel you are, right? What do you do in that scenario? So I always think it's fascinating. Let's look at how the news media covered it. So first we're going to look at the mainstream media, see how they covered it. Then we're going to talk about Fox News, how they covered it. And then I'm going to bring you some examples of my thoughts about this whole controversy and why I think it's tough, but, I feel sorry for Lia and I feel sorry for a lot of the trans people, but sometimes life isn't fair. And I think there has to be some other remedy than just allowing biological men to compete against biological women. There's got to be something else because it's inherently unfair. But before we get into that, check this out.
This morning, victory.
Thomas wins the NCAA championship.
And controversy. Lia Thomas, a swimmer on the University of Pennsylvania's women's swim team, has become the first openly transgender athlete to win a Division I NCAA championship.
I try to focus on my swimming, what I need to do to get ready for my races, and just try to block out everything else.
Outside of the arena, dueling protests.
This isn't about hate. This is about identities do not play sports. Bodies play sports. And Lia Thomas will always have a male body.
This dog whistle for transphobia. If we are going to allow Lia to compete, then we need to give her a chance to win.
This protester inside the arena holding up a sign reading, "Save Women's Sport."
Do you notice how they just jump right to transphobia? Right? It's like she didn't say anything relevant, right? This is transphobia. This is hate. It's not, right? But it's politically easy to say, hey, these people are transphobic. These people are hateful, without actually even realizing what the hell's going on, right? That's the thing that's frustrating about today. If you just say, well, let's look at these facts, you're automatically transphobic.
Sports. Thomas competed on the men's team for 3 seasons before undergoing years of hormone therapy. But critics argue Thomas still has an unfair advantage. Nancy Hogshead Makar is a women's rights attorney and former Olympic swimmer.
Lia Thomas has been through puberty. So that's 10 years of having testosterone, making broader shoulders and bigger lungs and strength.
This is not fair, but, you know, the other side's going to say, well, life is not fair, right? Okay, so I think ABC's coverage was pretty fair, right? It's giving you both the biological side. And if you think about it, if you just heard the other side's argument, transphobia and hatred. That's all you heard really from the other side. Let's listen to what Fox News is saying, because Fox News, they did a little work up on it too. Now, in the Fox News piece, this piece is actually after she won, and then she came in last place in the final swim of the competition. So she won the championship 500 meters, but came in last place for this one. So here's Fox News reporting on it. Let's see what they say.
Becoming the first ever transgender athlete to win a Division I national championship.
Was pushed over the first 350 meters. Thomas wins the NCAA championship. Ended up very close for second, with Wyatt taking it ahead of a late charge from Erica Sullivan in third.
The cheers much louder for the runner-up than for Thomas. Thomas' accomplishment only adding to the big question, should she have been allowed to compete in the first place? Let's bring in with us now Caitlin Jenner, who's got a lot to say on this. Caitlin, it's great to have you here. Let me just set this up by saying that Lia Thomas destroyed the field in the 500-yard freestyle. She was 1.75 seconds faster than the runner-up, but she was 9 seconds slower than the record set by Katie Ledecky back in 2017. So she was faster than all the women in the pool last night, but she's not the fastest woman ever. So how do we put this all into perspective?
Good question.
I think she was probably taking it very easy in the race because she knew the world was watching, and she's just going to go fast enough to be able to win the race.
Now, some people will be like, well, how do you know this, right? How can Caitlin Jenner be saying this? This is, you know, how do you know? So let's look at a race before Lia Thompson became a household name. Now, this is the race where she first transitioned and she was, you know, competing for Penn. And what you're going to see is no one's looking, no one's worried about it, right? They're just racing, and Lia Thompson goes all out, right? So there's no politics, no political game behind it, right? So for contrast, first let's look at the race before and just see how close each one of the competitors are in the race that she actually won for the championship. Let's look at this again.
Championship.
Here we go.
Over the first 350
So
meters.
Leah won,
Thomas
second place, third place, and you see everybody's finished now, right?
Very close for second.
Very close. You know, it was a tight race. It could be any woman. You know, she didn't really break any records. But now, and that's because everybody's saying, why is she doing this? She's broken records before. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. And then she comes in last place in the final competition. So people are like, hold on. You know, and it was to allow people to say, well, she's not the best woman in the world. You know, she's just like everyone else, right? She's not blowing everyone out. You know, this is fair competition, right? She's losing. She won. She barely won this one. But they forget we have the video of her earlier race. Check this out. Now, this is the race in which everyone said this is not fair. So again, this is when she didn't think anybody was watching. She could just go all out. And this is what happened. So here we go. Let's look at it. The highlighted lane is where Lia Thompson's at. So there, she's swimming. Again, this is the 500. So here's second place. Now Lia Thompson has won. So now, remember, she only won the last one by 1.9 seconds. We passed it. We're at 5 seconds. Now, let's see how long it takes for second place to make it. 13 seconds. Second place is still swimming. Yeah, Yeah, she held up a little bit. What are my thoughts on this whole situation? Now, this is Sav from the YouTube channel. Sav says, Sav is a patriot, right? She's a right winger, but she's a patriot. And she goes right into the front lines and she interviews BLMs. Like she's out there. Sav is like a warrior. Sav is out there interviewing people of just about how they feel about this situation. So let's see what happens.
Lia Thomas competing today as a swimmer in this competition. What are you feeling? What are other athletes feeling?
It's a common conception that we are all very disappointed and frustrated with someone who has capabilities more than us women have to be able to compete at this level and take opportunities away from other women. Like I have a teammate who did not make finals today because she was just bumped out of finals, and it's heartbreaking to see someone who went through puberty as a male and has the body of a male be able to absolutely blow away the competition, and you go into it with a mindset that you don't have a chance, if that makes sense. Like it's hard to compete against someone with the aerobic capacity, the muscle development, the body of a man. It's hard. It's hard to think about it like that. And staying positive, I bet for other swimmers who are in that heat is probably overwhelming. I'm not sure. I can't speak for them, but it's disappointing to see and frustrating, definitely.
A lot of times it's easy for us to just say, well, there's no face to the people who have been hurt by this, the person who lost their opportunity. But here she is. This is Virginia Tech swimmer Rika, Georgie? And she was, because Lia Thompson made it in the top 16, this person didn't make it. So, and has lost their opportunity. So life isn't fair, but should she be out of that spot? Really? It's interesting to see that the crowd reaction to Lia Thompson winning, nobody was cheering for that. They actually cheered the second place person because they feel that person's the true champion. We talk about biology versus reality. And I think when we talk about this, what is the reality? What is the reality? Biology means something. And the reason why we have men and women's sports is not based on identity, right? Gender, how you feel your gender is. It's based on the biological realities. Should that change? Should we just not separate the genders by their biological sex, but biological identity? And then, what doors does that open up for people, right? Can now a male just identify as Lia done and take suppressants after years of going through puberty and all that stuff and win a women's championship and be validated by that? What about going the other way? It's a tough question. But, I just don't know, because I don't want to exclude anybody, but then I want to be fair. Let me know how your comments in, because I'm struggling with this one, but I'm on the side of science with this one. I just don't think this is fair. I just don't think this is fair. It just doesn't seem fair. And I know people are going to say, well, sports generally isn't fair. Is it fair about Serena Williams? But the reason why we have these gender classifications, why we do this based on sex is to make it as fair as possible, right? And now you've taken that away and it becomes unfair, again. Let me know how you feel in the comment section. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'm going to see you next time. Peace.